Thank you very much, Premier Winde. It's a great pleasure to speak to you again. The last time I spoke to you was probably at your campaign in Newlands, so it's been a while. I want to get onto something that I've been fighting for a couple of days now on the Twitter sphere, and it's become quite overwhelming since there's a lot of people that are reading articles that the Premier is in discussions about about mandatory vaccines, about COVID passports or vaccine passports rather, and making that completely mandatory. And it's a topic that seems to kind of enrage a lot of people because it seems like it takes from what I'm getting from a lot of people is that it takes away their freedom of choice, for one, to decide whether they want to have the vaccine, and number two, their freedom of movement in terms of the COVID vaccine, it's the passport itself. And I understand that you have to have these conversations, and I'll let you explain that. The problem is that people, this was a newspaper article in News 24 that I don't think a lot of people actually read because it was behind a paywall. And they read the headline, they read the first paragraph, and they read no further because they couldn't, and nobody has subscriptions to read further. So I would like to get clarity from you, Mr. Premier, on what your position is on mandatory vaccines and on the COVID passports, and just to explain whether that's a government position, whether that's a DA position, just so that we can put some perspective on this.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Emil. Very, very good question. And yeah, so thank you very much. I think you also explained it quite well. News 24, the clickbait up front, and then the paywall, so you can't read the rest of the discussion. So maybe I should start. Well, let me start off with first of all saying the policy or the position and why people are asking these questions. Because of course this takes away people's liberty. It takes away people's freedom if governments make things mandatory. The policy of our government, the policy of the DA, is that it's choice. And nothing has changed. That is the policy. And of course, in this discussion, it's not actually, this discussion was coming out of a standing committee. And of course, I believe in open and transparency. And one of the questions in the standing committee was to say, what is happening in the province around mandatory vaccinations, what's happening around incentivizing vaccinations, because it was a report that we were giving to Parliament. And the report was actually about the communication spend around behavior change, because we put quite a lot of pressure on behavior change. In the beginning was not vaccines, it was behavior change, just to get to slow down the spread of the virus. And then of course it's also trying to incentivize vaccinations through communication and behavior change. But the position, the policy position, as a government, as a cabinet, and the DA, is that we are absolutely about choice.